Our leaders, who are the religious leaders from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa yang nakama. They are like agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has another tone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history,
it's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Good morning and welcome to National Discourse to Nigerians and of course the world, the larger society. Now today we are looking at a call for restructuring, and we are aware of the debate that broke up in the internet between Oshibanjo, the current vice president, and the former vice president Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now where Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is actually criticizing vice president Oshibanjo's call that geographical federalism, restructuring is not what Nigeria needs, that we need good governance and other things added in it. That is what we have to look at today. So you too, you can sit tight, pick up your phones, you can call us on our numbers that will roll on, and our social media handles, you need a contribution on this. Now, I am Uche Uduma, still on National Discourse. I have a guest with me. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, I will introduce the guest that will do justice to this topic, a call for restructuring. Please stay with us.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa yang nakama. They are like agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
what happened in Benue might be political. It still has another tone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history,
it's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
You welcome back from that short break, and I have with me in the studio Citizen Goodman Omar Ako. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
He's been a regular guest on National Discourse. We have him here to do justice to this topic, restructuring, a call for restructuring by Nigerians, or a face-up that happened between the current vice president and the past vice president. Now, I want us to start with the call for restructuring. Now, at this point in time, looking at the antecedents that have happened or that have been happening in our country, Nigeria, coming to this point, both politically and economically, a call for restructuring, is that what we need right now before we go over to the debate that broke up?
Thank you once again for having me, and my greetings to my entire fellow Nigerians. The issue is over politicized. What is to be restructured and who is to restructure?
Okay.
It is supposed to be an issue for Nigerians to canvass for.
Mm-hmm.
And not when you are announcing an ambition and then you are announcing anything or everything wrong with the entire system that you are a product of. You were there, you are one of the operators of the system. When the buttons are within your reach, you never care to touch the buttons to do the needfuls. But the moment you are put out of office, you are now seeing something wrong with that office you occupy for quite a number of years. It's laughable. When the British were looking for exit, it was a discourse, it was a national issue. Everybody participated in it.
Okay.
But it is not a matter for Atiku, Lamido, all the people in opposition are the same people asking for the same thing every day. They occupied the seat for 16 years.
Okay.
So nothing was wrong with that. And they handed over the same structure to the present government.
Okay.
I am not here to speak for government. I am not Femi Adesina or Garba Shehu.
All right.
But I speak for the masses, where I belong to. To me, it is laughable. It is a non-issue for Atiku Abubakar or whoever is an aspirant on the opposing party to champion the issue of restructuring. Yes, if there is need for restructuring, the type of restructuring Nigerians or Nigeria need is to, it has to start from self.
Okay.
Attitudinal. Your attitude has to be structured. You have to change the way you are doing things. Definitely, we need troubleshooters to really tell us what is the problem of Nigeria.
Okay.
Nigeria has a problem. There's no place. Even America, they have that problem. Has it got to do with the system? Absence of some certain laws? Or the will, the political will, or the courage? I mentioned here at the time when a judge in Kenya has to annul the presidential election. He is a professional, he's trained. He has a book guiding him. And he has to use the book. But what is happening to Nigeria? Why are the rich complaining now when they were there, they never saw anything wrong with this system were operating? What is to be restructured? Where do you start from?
Okay, now, before you continue, I want to take you back to 1995. During Abacha Constitutional Conference that was spearheaded by the former president, Atiku Abubakar. He said he was the one on the forefront of the discussion on restructuring since the 1995 Abacha Constitutional Conference, stressing that it is to the best of knowledge that he has been on the term for geographical restructuring. Now, against the opinion that probably it was politically masterminded for him to come out now and cry for restructuring. Now, he is saying that he has been on the forefront crying for restructuring since 1995 till date. How would you react to that?
Well, it's a confirmation that he's a very unserious person. With due respect, it's my senior.
Of course, that's the opinion.
Yes. How can you, a proponent of a particular thing, you want to bake a cake to a particular size or shape, and you are given the kitchen with all the necessary materials to produce this cake, and the cake was not produced by you, and immediately you are out of the kitchen, you are telling us about the need to produce a cake. He was a vice president, one of the strongest vice presidents Nigeria has ever produced.
Okay.
He was almost a de facto president, because at a point the first tenor of Baba was busy junketing all over the world, was traveling all over the world, visiting countries, discussing bilateral issues or diplomatic shuttles, as you may call it. But this man was around. All he was doing was manipulating how to take over the party. The same man. And he did that to push Baba out of office, which eventually did not take place. And they settled again, and they were there for 8 years. And he, after that 8 years, he was the leader of that same party, the highest organ of the party, Board of Trustees, for 4 years before crossing over to APC. All his ambition is to take over Nigeria.
Okay.
Even if you give him Atiku today, he will now shift discussion from restructuring to another issue.
Okay.
He didn't restructure Nigeria. He has a private university.
All right.
He has the largest, the biggest company in Nigeria.
Okay.
He is involved in, he has the best plane you can take private jets to fly, even when Nigeria don't have any plane to move. The national carrier lacking a plane to use. This man has everything. But the same man is telling us today, APC is a different party. They have their manifesto. What is manifesto? Reducing your plan to paper writing. Is restructuring on the paper of APC?
Now, are you saying for a party to have a manifesto, they have a certain manifesto and they come into power? Are you saying they should neglect the cry of the people? Paraventure restructuring is the cry of the people. Are you saying they should neglect it because it does not appear on their manifesto?
Well, the people are not crying. Is a section of the people, particularly the Southeast. Their pain is they see themselves as the third largest ethnic nationality in Nigeria, which they are. And by right, when the Hausa man becomes president from northern Nigeria and it moves to the southwest, and the Yoruba man should be, then the next place to go should be the southeast for the Igbos to produce the president.
So are you saying Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is actually crying on behalf of the southeast people?
Atiku is playing an agenda, a template from that axis of Nigeria.
Okay.
Because that is where his company, his business interest lies. Intel and so on, they operate from southeast. So the issue is the Igbo now want to take over or to produce the next president. That's why you are seeing the Nnamdi Kanu and IOPB and whatever name, the restructuring issue or noise is emanating from there.
Okay.
It resonates from that place.
Okay.
And this man from North pick it up and begin to use it as a campaign item. So right. I don't see anything in Atiku championing a cause. No. Atiku should leave Nigeria. Let Nigerians come up. If there's need for it, nobody should use anything to divide us.
All right. Do you agree that there is need for restructuring?
Yes.
Before we talk about his right
yes,
to say that.
And I will explain.
Okay.
What do we restructure? Attitude.
Okay.
We restructure our attitude.
Not governance.
No.
Not
how do you restructure
not
governance?
Politics.
We have a system that is adopted, and they are not gone out of that system. So what do you need to restructure? And that's the same template they use for the 16 years. What's wrong with them not to restructure it that time? Are they waiting for Buhari to come and restructure for them? They were there for 16 years. What are you talking about? If there's need for restructuring, what did they do? So what are we talking about? We need attitudinal restructuring.
And from your own point, it's not government.
It's not government attitude. Nigerians don't respect the law. There's no discipline.
Okay.
There is no public or national interest. Nationalistic is not there. When you come from a zone, a section of the country, the government is dominated by the same group, and you are packing the money, and you are trying to maybe put one or two developments there so that they can ask you, what have you done for us when you were there? So that's what we need to change our attitude to become one Nigeria. When one Nigeria, whoever is ruling or the president does not matter. What matters is your character, your attitude. If it's changed and you now believe that the entire country is your own, then you see a man from Kalabari, a man from Biobio, Kanuri, a man from Fulani man, a man from Ilorin, as one Nigeria, because we are one.
All right, before we go further, I would want to read out Alhaji Atiku's comment, where he dismissed what the current Vice President Oshibanjo's call against restructuring for now, geographical restructuring specifically, because he gave his reasons over that. Now, he said Oshibanjo's 360-degree turn on the concept of restructuring is because he is now in government. I just wanted to react to that. Because from your opening statement, you said Atiku Abubakar has been in office, even when I gave you an instance of him championing the cause of restructuring in 1995 constitutional amendment where he spearheaded, still in Nigeria, Now, for him to say that because Oshibanjo is in power, that is why he's trying to back, or he's having a 360 turn, against restructuring. I just wanted to react to that.
Yes, I have said something. He was a proponent or an advocate of restructuring in which year did you say?
1995.
1995. And he became the vice president which year?
1999.
And then for till when?
They ran for 8 years.
Then what was his position all through the 8 years? The answer for your question is in your question. I want you to answer the question. He was a vice president after advocating for a particular thing, and he had the opportunity for 8 years, sitting and packing money for 8 years. Tell me what he said about restructuring in his 8 years as vice president of Nigeria. I'm waiting for you.
We really do not have any record of that. We don't have any record of that.
Why should you take a man serious?
It's not me.
He is trying to take over Nigeria.
Okay, now hold on.
He's gallivanting everywhere with this same song just to Nigerian to play into his hands.
So you are saying his call is politically masterminded?
He has never had any call. He's just joking about, just playing politics with Nigeria.
Okay. Now, let's leave Atiku from it and look at the country, Nigeria. I asked you a question before that, are we due for restructuring? The call, is it right for us to say, come and restructure Nigeria? Before we talk about whose duty is it to restructure Nigeria, you've talked about restructuring our mindset and all that. But let's go back to the government. I'm not talking about the present government, but the government in power that normally leads Nigeria. Because even if APC does not win in 2019, another party will come over. Now, they call for restructuring. What are the indices of restructuring? What it is that we're expecting, to be restructured in Nigeria?
Anyway, I want to look at it from this perspective. If restructuring is a need, is a national demand, and then let's see how it play out in the coming election.
Okay.
So let those who are looking or who need restructuring of the country vote for the candidate of restructuring so that it can come over to restructure Nigeria for them. Let's see what happens at the end of the day.
Okay, away from politics, I'm asking, what are the indices of restructuring? Like, you agreed with me that the call is ripe, but your problem is who was shouting for the call. Who's actually advocating for the call. That was your own problem. You agree that there's a need for Nigerians to call for restructuring, whether it's coming from our own side or from the government. And I'm asking, what are the indices of restructuring, since we are in agreement that there is need for restructuring?
Yes, maybe I will repeat myself again. We need to restructure some certain things which may not need to affect the system of government.
All right.
First thing first is mindset. Do we believe in this country called Nigeria?
Which is individualistic.
Yes, that's the structuring. When we restructure our mind, things will begin to fall in place. When we restructure our mind, which is attitudinal, our attitude to things, it will now allow a policeman to do his job.
Without asking for money.
Without asking for money.
I'll just have to learn that.
Without favoring a person from his geographical entity. Without taking instruction from a non-trained person, a political office holder, without waiting for a phone call to take decision. That is the kind of restructuring I'm talking about. For a judge to be able to implement the law, develop the courage to pronounce the judgment, the right judgment. A judicial, an executive officer, a governor, should be able to now see the entire state is my state. I'm developing, the state is handed over to me to develop, not my constituent or my language or my senatorial or my district or my village. Leadership is different from politics.
Okay.
We have a lot of politicians in office. They are no leaders. Leaders think about the people. Politicians think about election. All these people in office, they use the 4 years in office to think about how to get the next 4 years. No. They are afraid to take decision because they will not vote for them for the next 4 years. So if Nigerian can restructure the system of election, the pattern, to make it 5 or 6 years, one single tenure, that's one of the restructuring I will support.
You are calling for amendment of constitution?
Yes, that's one of the restructuring I will support. 5 years or 6 years,
one tenure.
Then you know that after 5 years, forever and ever, you can never look for that position again. So what are you going to suppress anybody to? They change the executive member. Commissioners are like house boys to governors. Ministers are like house boys to the president, because they have seen this work as their lifetime job. They cannot tell their boss or bosses the truth. You come to a meeting, the governor or the president will start the meeting and end the meeting. What is meeting? Meeting is bringing people together to exchange ideas. But this one is briefing. What is taking place in Nigeria is briefing. The leaders, the governors, and the president, they call people for briefing. They tell you what they want you to do or what they want to do.
Without
and when they see your countenance that is not in conformity with the decision they are taking, the next day you are going. Or the moment from that office, you are replaced or sacked. But Nigerians are afraid. What stops you from being sacked when you have the truth? The people are watching. Obama ended up his political career in America at the age of 55. And Trump came in at the age of 72 or thereabout. So look at the gap. Who told you you are too old to be there? Because there's no age limit in Nigeria. So the system, we need to change a few things. We change our attitude, our belief. We will see something the way it's written. Like this place is green. But you bring somebody or a lawyer, it will argue that it's not green, and create a name for it, and it will be approved immediately. Green is green. And our lawyers need to change their attitude. They are accepting any case. They are briefing a lawyer don't take after listening to the person. Say this case is bad. It affects, it's not good. It's unethical to my profession or to my culture. You don't do this in the society. You can't go and keep somebody with knife, call the person, and I'll come and defend you that you didn't call the person. You didn't call the person. What money do you want? Blood money? Somebody killed somebody. The lawyer is going to defend him at all costs. It's open, glaring. The person will even confess to you as a lawyer that he did it. And you are a lawyer coming to tell lies in the court. Not the person telling the lies. Because the person has confided in you. He has told you the secret. I killed this person. And your lawyer coming to stand in the court the next day laughing and putting on a different look, very serious, telling the judge that he didn't kill the person. Can you see it? There are cases a lawyer should take. There are cases you don't take. So judicial officers, lawyers compromise to bring Nigeria down. If there's any restructuring, we should go and restructure their minds. They were taught these basic things in the universities, in the school. They has not changed. But they are coming to implement their minds. They will prepare judgment in an envelope. The moment you offer the money, you pay the price, they give it to you. There's some judgment in Nigeria that you cannot see anywhere in the world. So these are the things that we need to restructure.
Are we restructuring personalities in the judiciary or the judiciary entirely?
The entire
as an arm of
judiciary.
government? Okay.
The entire judiciary.
Okay.
They should go back to the basis.
All right.
They should start the business of judiciary properly. Forget about the money. You have choose to be a judge or a lawyer. If you don't make the money, but you make the name, or you have done well, excellent well, you'll be rewarded by God. Society will appraise you and then say thank you. But you can have the whole money and you are rejected by the same society. People know the source of your money. You can't hide it. They know the money, how you make your money. If you are collecting money, you're defending like the notorious kidnapper in Lagos. He's having a lawyer that want a man to get out of the hook. And the man has confessed. Like in the morning, this morning, I was hearing the same man telling them that he didn't confess. He didn't make such a confessional statement. If the coach, what is happening is that the lawyer coaching him to come and retrieve, to see how to withdraw what you have said before. Is it law? If you're a lawyer, won't you protect the integrity of your country? And you know a citizen of that country? Is it the money of that country you want? Or the progress of the same country? So the issue of restructuring should be left for Nigerians to decide, not any political office seeker, not any aspirant or any ambitious person. I reject it.
All right, now, how do you see our laws? You have spoken about the judiciary. I actually like the side you're coming from, so we can touch the 3 tiers of government.
Yeah.
Now, the judiciary, yes, we're done with that. Now, how do you see our laws? Now, you have just given an idea or your own opinion that the constitution should be amended, that we should have a single tenure of 5 to 6 years instead of 2 tenure of 4 years. Good. Now, our laws, does it really have the backing for restructuring?
The laws are made for us, and we are the makers of the law. So we can play with it. We can do whatever will help us with our law.
Now, the legislative arm of government, how did they come in with it?
Yes.
How about senators? You have our House of Reps members.
Part of the restructuring Nigerian will be happy to have is to reduce the two chambers to one.
They should merge it?
Yes. And give it one name, because a lot of legislators don't consult people from their constituency. They don't go home after 4 years. When they save money and they know the nature, the gullibility of Nigeria, and the principle of conservatism is to keep people perpetually poor. So they will leave people poor at home, and then at the end of 4 years, change money to new notes, and they're coming to share. And the people will be happy and gladly will be taking it because they don't have any option again. They are dying because they know how many people they've buried within the 4 years. So those who are lucky, who survive, based on the whatever they used to cross over, will not want to go through the pain. But the pain Nigerians are not ready to go through, the same pain is going through Nigerians. You must go through pain, or pain goes through you. The same pain we don't want to go through, and pain is going through us.
But don't you think Nigerians have gone through this pain for a while, for them to continue, to endure the pain?
The thing is that part of the problem, Nigerian problem, is Nigerian made. Part of Nigerian problem comes from the sufferers, people that are suffering from the wrong decisions, the bad steps of government. The same people are the first set of people to endorse the same man that is visiting them with pain. Somebody from their constituency will go and arrange, collect some money, pay some people who can mobilize the rest, and they hire bosses for them. They are going for endorsement.
So you think the endorsement is, how will I put it? It's been influenced.
It's monetized.
Okay. All right.
Imagine a group of young boys buying form of 45 million naira for the president.
We are still coming to that because some people said it's a group of persons, because that is what we are seeing now. Okay. Even for Atiku, they say it's a group of people that came together and bought it. And the question is, who are this group of people? When the entire populace, they are crying of hunger and pain. But we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we will continue with this call for restructuring. And when we come back again, we'll be able to pick your calls to have your input or your questions for the guests. Please stay with us.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in house like Nakama. They are like Agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history.
It's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse. Weekdays on NCTV.
All right, glad to have you back from that short break. We are still here talking about a call for restructuring. I'm still with citizen Goodman Omar Aku, who is here doing justice to what we have on ground. Now, before we went for that short break, we actually entered into picking up this form, 45 million naira, by some group of persons. So he would want to x-ray that, and if it's justifiable. But the same people that are crying for hunger and restructuring to come together to put their resources together to buy farms for people aspiring, and then go back to endorse them, and after 4 years they will come back and start crying for restructuring or things are not going well. Yeah, I'm so glad to still have you here, standing by. Now, the nomination form of 45 million naira. We have seen our current president come out to tell us that his form was bought by a group of people. A group of persons came together and bought the form. And this is the president of Nigeria for 4 years now. Are we saying he does not have 45 million naira to buy the form? And then coming back to our own former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, Daha, is calling for restructuring. Coming out again to tell us that even his own form was bought by a group of persons. What's the reaction to that?
Well, the drama continues. You can see the drama. Poor people buying form for rich people. Instead of the reverse should be the case, look at the trend. Everything is politicized, and I used to weep, I cry for myself and my country. Young men, when you go to National Hospital, you will see thousands who cannot pay their medical bills. Government refuses to look at that direction. Part of the people in the village suffering from the present flood or several attacks here and there are relations of those that went to procure forms of 45 million. What a hell. A paper, a plain sheet, decorated or added content to, that becomes readable. Portions to fill. From 27 million in 4 years ago to 55 million. Look at it. Where are we going? In the next 4 years, that form will go to 100 million.
Now, hold on there. Is it, are you alleging it's a deliberate act to keep the young ones from coming to participate? Let's remember again that the president once signed the Not Too Young to Run bill sometime this year. Are you saying it's a deliberate attempt to keep away those young ones from coming out?
The Not Too Young to Run bill, I don't want to discuss it.
Okay.
Because these are the same people suffering and smiling. May the soul of the legendary fella rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
How on earth, my surprise is a comrade or Shomole, Adams of Shomole. I know his background. He started as a tailor,
Wow.
a mobile tailor. That's what led him into the textile industry. He has no such, that kind of background to drink tea in the morning. He was finding it difficult to have a cup of tea to drink in the morning. But I want to appreciate him that he struggled to get the children to drink tea. But now he's trying to deny the children of others from drinking the same tea.
How do you mean by that?
How do you, per head, sit on a chair where such decision is taken that affects the people, not the too young to run? The too young to run, they are parading on the television, look at their faces, they're children of those that are in power. So that's why I say I'm not going to discuss that issue.
Okay.
They did that to save, to protect, and then close that pigeonhole. Or Adams Oshomole, the chairman of a party that increased form from 27 million to 55 million. Instead of bringing the form back to 7 million, removing 20 million. Most especially based on what Nigeria has gone through, recession, which everybody was aware of it. And after recession, coupled with the fight against corruption, and you are selling a form for 55 million, and I knew Buhari would say something, he said, but the way it ended, it baffles me. When he rejected that cost, only his own was reduced. The governorship form, nothing much happened. 20 it was 25 million or brought to 22.5 million. Nasrul Rufai, the Kaduna governor, said he could not raise the money to buy it. And I learned that they bought for him again. This is the era of buying forms. Poor people buying forms for rich people.
Is it part of restructuring? Because remember you said it has to be an individualistic move where people wake up to help endorse people that are supposed to lead the country, good leaders. Now, for these people, the populace, to wake up and contribute money, that is, if that's what happened, if they would wake up and contribute money to buy funds for the rich, don't you think as part of paving way for restructuring?
No, it is. I have already told you the kind of restructuring we need. It covers everything already. When I say individual or individualistic, I have said those who were used to buy the form shouldn't have gone to do that. If they had changed, they won't do that. They knew what they have done. They are aware of the structure of the money. If Nigerians don't know today, certainly tomorrow they will know. It can only submerge. It will not merge. You can never cover the moon with the palm trees. You can't. So if whoever is behind it will know it one day. The man that poisoned, using a canvas to poison legendary Bob Marley, that transferred cancer to him through a pin in a canvas, has confessed in America in a hospital. And Marley died 81 or thereabout, 30-something years ago. But the man has confessed this year. So definitely we will get to the root of all this. We will know who does what and why and where. So they did that based on commission. They are commission agents. Take 1 million and share. Take 45 million or 50 million is there. You share 5 million. A higher crowd. Go and buy the form and present it and use your name. Because of hunger, they will do that. Those who are being used are hungry Nigerians.
And it's very pathetic.
Very, very pathetic. They are hungry Nigerians. Who are the hungry Nigerians? Foolish people, if not. If you are not a fool, it's not what you eat that matters, or not the emulate and the egg. You don't need it.
I will actually beg your pardon to retract that word, because you're dealing with Nigerians that are actually watching. The fool thing. Okay,
sorry. I will withdraw it.
All right, thank you.
So the issue is that I don't mean the perspective I use, it's not insult.
I understand, but
when you close your wisdom and integrity just to prove a point that doesn't need to be proved.
Yes, sir.
That's what I mean.
I understand you perfectly well.
I'm not insulting anybody.
Yes, sir.
It's your attitude that sufficiently defines who you are. Your character. So, and that's the character restructuring I was talking about.
Yes, sir.
Don't allow yourself to be used again. The person using you is fooling you. That's what I mean. I don't insult.
Yes, sir. Now, in the mood of using Nigerians to get what politicians want, we are looking at next year's election. We have 5 months and some days to go. I think presidential election is 17th of February, if I'm not correct. What do you have to tell Nigerians about being used, by politicians to get what they want?
What will solve the problem? I have said it. Change your attitude.
Okay.
When you change your attitude, like it's now a cool, there's a particular behavior that is handed over from generation to generation. We should stop it now. Look at who can serve you, who has the quality, who shows love and concern. Cast your vote. the color of the logo of the party is immaterial. You can see we copy the American system halfway, copy Britain halfway, but we refuse to develop our own indigenous culture or way of doing things. In America, they have people who run the same election without belonging to any political party. What's the fear? What are we afraid of not to allow people to run? When they allow that, you see that people running on zero party level will beat a lot of people on all this political party.
All right, now coming back to the political party, you once mentioned that the chairman of APC, had to shoot up the nomination form from what it used to be to added over 20 million naira. Now, the question is, still in the bid or on the race for restructuring, are we saying that these parties are left alone to take decisions? Don't you have regulatory bodies, to actually regulate them and then restrict them from certain actions that they want to take? Are they alone?
Maybe, are you talking of government involvement or independent of the leadership of the party? I don't know what you... I'm
looking at the parties, right?
Who regulates them?
Who regulates the parties? And then in the bid of having the nomination form, shooting up to that level, are we saying we should not, there's no regulation of some sort from some bodies?
Is it the people are supposed to regulate the party, particularly members, registered members. But there's a certain thing that is left undone. They will write it, they will read it, but nobody will do anything about it after that. How do you run a political party? What's the source of funding of a political party? How do you fund the campaign? They say donation. Donation is pegged to a particular amount of money. Yes. But the aspect I was addressing is the aspect of due of members, contribution from members. You will see in the membership card a space for you to pay some amount of money, 200, 100. When a party should have 5 million members and the members pay 500 naira, how much do you think you have?
It's a huge money. It's a huge money.
It's okay. So they don't want that. The rich people don't want that to take place, and the poor people don't care to see how they are sufficiently carried along. This aspect, if one individual begin to contribute their money now, it will spread.
All right, now.
So it brought us down to the individual attitude I was talking about, addressing.
All right. Now, my question actually was, are the political parties really independent?
They are.
Good. On the aspect of increasing the nomination form, are we saying that, let me put it this way, does INEC don't have a say in regulating the kind of amount they put in on their forms or their activities? Are they independent in such a way that nobody tells them, no, this form is actually on the higher side, apart from the members suffering it? Nobody or INEC can tell them that this nomination form, no, reduce it to this level. Are we saying, are they that independent, devoid of any regulation from any sort?
I want to say something. There's no construction, mind construction on your forehead. As I'm sitting down now, you don't know what's on my mind, and I don't know what's on your mind. How independent is the independent and the Independent Electoral Commission? When somebody from the ruling party appoints and confirms the appointment, hire and fire them, and the same party that hired the person
is the one in charge.
Is the one in charge. So can you be more than your master? If INEC is left for Nigerians to vote for the national chairman the way they are voting for the national chairman of a political party or governorship and presidential candidate, then that's how you see the independence of INEC. And now they prepare their budget and take it straight to the National Assembly. So they don't have anything to do with the presidency.
So you are advocating for INEC chairman to be an electoral position?
Yes.
Okay. That's part of your own restructuring.
20 persons aspiring to be the INEC chairman. Then we'll look at their credentials. We know them before they are aspiring to become something. So they are taken again. We screen through it. The character, the quality of their behaviors, what they have been doing, the achievement they have recorded. We'll look at all this, put it together, and then we'll vote for them. And the same thing, they should allow the judiciary to naturally evolve and produce their own national leader.
Good. I was actually coming to that, because when you talk about appointments, and from what you said is affecting the electoral body, INEC, then I wanted to take you back to having the chief officer hemming the affairs of the judiciary being a political appointment again. So you're advocating for INEC chairman's position to be electoral as well as the judiciary.
It's all these ranks and positions are political in nature. So they should be subject to election. The IG of police is political. They can have the next person in rank and pick the person far behind the person. Chief of Army Staff is political. All these things are political. The Chief Justice of the Federation is political. The President look at your face. If you are in love with your face, or if you have been loyal to him, or if you have people to lobby and canvass for you that are close to him, then you expressly you are appointed.
Are you saying there's no pure criteria for selecting?
No. Not like it's done. They recently they appointed the Chief Justice of America. You knew what he went through. I've forgotten the name. He went through all the tests, all the screening. So have they cared to ask people outside the judiciary, or what do you know about this man that we want to appoint the Chief Justice of Nigeria? They should ask us. Let people speak. You see how they vote best footballer in the world. Let's use football. They allow people from all over the world to participate in the process of selection, so that nobody can manipulate it. The FIFA president cannot manipulate it. Cannot impose anybody. No matter how you are close to him, even if you are his son, if you are not the best player in the world, you are voted out. So people vote. Even the common program, Big Brother or Big Nigeria, you see how it evolves. You see how it goes. People decide your fate, because you are coming to become a champion. Because before you champion a cause, you should have a cause. You cannot champion a cause without having a cause. You must go through a due process. We need to process you. Process who becomes the IG of police. Process who becomes the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Process who becomes the Attorney General of Nigeria. Process who becomes the Minister of Justice. These are sensitive positions that has to be processed by Nigerians. Not just one person sit down and appoint them. How will it work? If this is the kind of restructuring we are talking about, I am in total support.
Okay.
If we restructure the appointment of a Minister for Justice, the Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Justice of Nigeria, IG of Police, Independent Chairman of INEC, and on and on. These are up to 10 about them. If they are subject to people processing it for them to emerge, you see the improvement. You see that nobody is talking about restructuring what? We have enough. How is Britain moving on? We lifted this law from England, and they are still using the law, and they are moving forward. They are making progress. We lifted the presidential system from America. How come the American senator is not taking so much money Nigerian senator is taking? Is it the system that is the problem, or the operators of the system? Who increased the money? Why was the money increased? So these are the simple things there. So we're talking of restructuring what? What are you sure of that you are restructuring to? In Nigeria, it's only in Nigeria that I know of a particular section of the country has a ministry called Ministry of Niger Delta. So how do you restructure, when you restructure Nigeria, every zone they have their ministry. You must have restructure Nigeria, Ministry of South, Ministry of Southeast, Ministry of Northwest. Then what are you talking? We are going back to regional government. That idea of Ministry of Niger Delta, they have regionalized the area. It's a regional government already.
Okay. Now, just to support what you just said, still Oshiban just trying to react to what Atiku Abubakar have said. He said that the country needs deep fiscal federalism that entails more powers for the state and good governance. Now, talking about having more powers to the state, still in defense for a call for restructuring by our Vice President Oshibanjo, giving more powers to the state. What is your take on that?
What powers are they lacking? What powers did they want? What power to do what? They get their budget directly and spend it. They are the chief security officer of these states. They use the money like personal money. I expected them to say they should reduce the power of the governor instead of adding more power. There's what they call security vote that is not accounted for. I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
What they need to do is to have security council, security team. Governor out of it, because it has a lot of work to do. If you join the issue of security to a governor again, then you have messed up the security of that state. Nigerian governors travel abroad for 1 month and they don't hand over to their deputy when they're traveling. Nigerian governors, majority of them lives in Abuja and they work on phone. They use telephone to run their state. How do you give those people more power to become president of their states? Nigerian governor will take allocation from Abuja. They don't owe the people any explanation. They spend this money. They use this money. They don't pay salary. They don't give development to the people. They don't pay scholarship. They don't attend to the social need of the people. There are no social security at the state level. So how do you add more power to these people? What are you talking? You want to kill the people?
All right, so from your own opinion, the fiscal federalism explanation that Shibanjo gave, you are not on the side of giving more powers to the state. And then he also talked about good governance. And I will also want you to touch that aspect too before we go.
Well, I want to beg of you not to reduce Nigeria to 2 of them.
Okay.
They are mates politically. One was a former and the other one is the president. So they are speaking for their various party and protecting their various interests. Mm-hmm. So don't reduce Nigeria to them.
Okay.
2, nobody, I repeat, will go against good governance.
Now, when you talk about good governance, it's not for the individuals. The corporate restructuring, like you said, should be made individualistic, right? Mm. Good. Now, good governance. It's not the people that are being governed that would lead example of good governance. Mm. You have leaders that are elected in so many positions or appointed in some positions. Now, they are the sectors you are looking at for good governance. So when you want to talk about look at good governance, I want you to just look into the kind of leaders we have so that we'll look at what good governance entails and where we are going to, expecting next year's election very soon.
You cannot have smoke without fire. You cannot have good governance without having good people in position of authority. Political positions in Nigeria are for the highest bidder. But the good ones, the good leaders, can afford the price. So good governance will continue to elude Nigeria. It's natural. When we change, we'll have what we want. When we refuse to change, not the change as a mantra, not the change you chorus, change Nigeria, change what? Change in the real sense, the actuality of it. When you bring a good person, God-fearing, definitely you have good governance.
Now, how do those people emerge?
The process has blocked them in totality.
Are we going to remain like this?
We will
having the
remain
good
like
ones
this. We will
out there?
remain like this.
No. I actually beg to
We will
disagree.
remain like, if you like, take it. If you like, don't take it. We will go remain
I
like
disagree
this.
with you on that.
You are free to disagree. That's your view and opinion. You are entitled to it.
Sure.
You cannot repeat a process. It's the same process for 20 times and expect 20 different results.
What has
our contribution as individuals, as you are still talking about the restructuring, let it be according to individuals, looking at it, what is our contribution as individuals? And when we have the good people out there, and I want to bring up again the comments that were made by Atiku Abubakar. He actually accused Oshibanjo of backing, having a 360-degree turn against restructuring because he's in power. So how comfortable are you, or how sure are you to be that when you have these good people step into these elected positions, they will remain who they are?
Well, what was the position of Oshibanjo before now, or that time? Well, there's what they call transformation and restructuring.
All right.
You can transform a particular process without restructuring it. And when you restructure, you have equally transformed. So they go pari passu. Look at these things. So I don't know his position before now. I don't know how serious he was about restructuring Nigeria also. And like I have said to you, he has his master. He is an appointee of somebody. So
his talk is politically...
Yeah, they dictate for him.
All right.
So how do you expect him to be an authority where he is not?
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Goodman, for coming on the show. Sorry we couldn't pick your calls again today. For now, we are drawing a curtain on National Discourse, a call for restructuring. We shall continue with this because we are not done with it. It's a continuous process and it's a continued call. Sorry, I actually disagreed with him on certain things, he said, because we have hope. And I know he has hope. He is speaking according to how he feels about it. We have hope that Nigeria will emerge or gradually grow into the Nigeria of our choice, because we all can run away from this country because it's in a bad shape. And for next year's election, go out there and pick up your PVC to effect the change that you desire, because the mantle in your hands is the PVC, and that is the power you have to make the change that you want, if truly you love Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you again for coming on the program. I remain your host, Uche Uduma. Goodbye for now.
Thank you, Uche.
Thank you, sir.